awful. I really should have left, but I pissed off Danton yesterday, and he just completely lost his cool at me, and he left the chat, and like he got re-added. He got added back, I think 2 or 3 times, and every time he got added back, he said "fuck off," and he left again, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, he's actually mad." And I'm like, "What's he even mad about?" I told him he was mad at me, but yeah, I couldn't tell you why. But without him there, no one's instigated it because what happens is he'll say something about me, and then a bunch of people will jump in behind him. But without him there to instigate it, everyone's lovely. So just the last 24 hours have been very pleasant. If he comes back, I'll probably just be like, all right, I'm about to head out because it's not good. And now I just wake up in the morning and I'm like, I feel terrible. I don't want to look at the group chat. Someone's gonna badmouth me for no reason. So
that's why I left, just because that entire group is just so fucking toxic at times. Like, every time I talk, they just try and talk shit. So I was like, fuck it, I'll leave. And now they're trying to talk shit on their pages, but I'm like, I don't give a fuck.
yeah.
Right. Good morning.
Like that.
We are recording. Just going to point that out. I'm not going to warn you because it's funny listening to you guys chat shit at the start of the podcast every time. It's brilliant. That's my favourite part of the podcast, the first 40 seconds of nobody knowing I'm recording. So.
Yeah, well, I managed to make it out of the bathroom before I joined VC this time because, I looked at my phone and I was like, oh shit, it's 7 o'clock. I'm on the shitter. So, yeah, I'm here. It's all good.
That's all right. I've had a text from Max. Well, we've all had a text from Max in the group chat saying he's just having a shit and will be here shortly.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Right. So
and he's having a shit.
Yeah. So welcome to the Shitposters Podcast. We're recording on a Sunday today. It's actually Easter Sunday, but you don't care because this isn't going to come out until next Friday anyway. We're here with GTE posting.
Hi.
SR20 Det.
Still in counts.
And Toge.
Good day.
And of course, I'm your host, the little SR that could. Oh, and Trav is here from Chase Posting as well. This is going well. Chav is in Messenger, is only messaging us because his internet is so bad we banned him from talking. Today we're going to talk a little bit about policing because Australia, there's a stigma in the UK that Australia is all defects and all of your cars are banned from the road. And I don't know what Australia think about the UK's police department, but it is policey.
We get free yellow drift slaps from the cops. They're expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, so they're not free then, as you've just said.
No, they're free to get them. They're expensive to take it off.
Free. Yeah, exactly.
So have you got to take them off, or can you leave them on? And,
No. You drive around Australia in a lowered car, in a car with wheels, or a car that just looks completely like a car that doesn't look like a Hyundai i30. A cop will pull you over, and he'll take one look at your car that's say 1 inch off the ground. He'll pull out his booklet, look at you again, peel off the sticker, stick it on your windscreen, free of charge, and he'll tell you if you remove it, you're fucking in trouble. And you got to go to Vic Roads, you got to put everything back to stock, and you go to Vic Roads. They're like, all right, cool. Then they peel it off, and it's expensive.
The ironic part about cops doing defects and stuff is most of the time they defect cars that are better than stock. But I can drive around in that shitbox VY daily that I had that was leaking oil, power steering fluid, had bald tires, was fucked. Don't even look at it.
Oh,
true.
That annoys me is because you put your car in nice coilovers and it handles good around corners, but Karen in a rusted out bloody Toyota freaking Corolla from 1987 that's barely running on 3 cylinders. Nah, that's fine. She'll never be pulled over in that.
Yeah, well, it's not really about.
It tends to be modified cars that are targeted more so than actual junk heaps. It's always stuff that's been visually modified, because then they go, if it's been visually modified, maybe it's also been performance upgraded illegally, and then they get all suspicious. Whereas they see it, as long as it's not rust, I think, yeah, they don't really see anything that's defectable. That's like, I don't know, something that's broken or whatever.
I also
like
think
being
because
from yeah.
I also think it's because generally if you modify a car, you can afford to pay for the defects and like get it fixed. Whereas someone who's driving around in the rust bucket probably wouldn't be able to pay for it. So they're kind of just targeting people they know that can pay for it. So
Yeah, but by that
I-
logic, those people in R33s with choppies on them, like they definitely can't afford it because they've chopped their springs.
yeah, true.
Yeah, but the
Damn.
thing with that, in saying that though, it's like, all right, yes, like you've modified your car. It could make it like the whole of police's like defects and shit is to make sure the car's like safe to drive on the road. Like being from a mechanic background, it's like when you get something that comes in, you got to do like a check through. You got to make sure it's safe to go on the road. Something that's been modified would be more safer on the road than Taryn's rusty Toyota 87 Corolla that's about to fall to pieces.
I mean, it kind of
Oh, yeah.
depends on how it's modified as well. Like in the UK, we have laws against certain things, but none of them are particularly well enforced. Like we've got no minimum ride height, which is a law that makes sense. Like if your car is half a millimeter off the floor, it is dangerous. You've got no suspension travel. You're skating along the floor. The likelihood of you hitting a rock and your car stopping or it popping the sump or the oil pan or whatever you want to call it, and then crashing is like high. So I understand that one, but we've got no law against it. We've got laws against suspension travel, but nobody enforces them. So it's stupid.
Max is
Yeah, the
wanting
difference for
me,
you
but-
guys is that you have to have MOTs, don't you? You have to get that. How often are they? Because for us, if you get a roadworthy certificate, that's it. It's there forever until you go to sell the car, in which case you need to get
Also-
another one so that then everyone knows that the car you're selling is safe to sell to give to someone else. You're not endangering someone else by giving them your ratty car. But yeah, for you guys, don't you have to do it like regularly?
Yeah, you've got a yearly MOT. So yeah, once a year, your car has to go in for a safety inspection. The big issue here is obviously we salt the roads. It rains a lot. We get snow occasionally. So it's like the odds of things rusting or perishing or dissolving are much higher. Like when you guys talk about rust, and I don't know what everybody's like opinion is on it there, but like I watch Mighty Car Mods videos and they're like, "Oh, this thing's a heap. It's so rusty," and I'm like, "What? That'd pass an MOT. That's mint. Like I'd buy that
Yeah.
because over here rust is hideous. Like my Nissan, if I pull the carpets out of it, you can see the floor.
Darwin!
That was nice and quiet, Max. Thank you for that. Yeah,
You're right. Because over here, of course, we don't have salt on the roads because it doesn't snow and shit. So for us, rust is a defectable thing because it's like there's like a zero tolerance on rust or whatever. They're like, no, if there's any rust, it's no good. But that's because obviously we live in a climate where cars don't really rust unless they're completely neglected or they have like a design fault from factory. Whereas, yeah, in somewhere like the UK or even America, where you drive on salty roads, yeah, you really can make a rust bucket. That's probably why they're much more lenient on that, is because they're like, oh, it happens. Whereas here, they're like, yeah, there shouldn't be rust at all. Fuck that off the car before you start driving it.
so yeah,
Our
like
roads are just trash.
a car over here can pass an MOT with holes in the floor,
Oh
but
my god.
yeah, but it's dependent on where they are and the year of the car and the construction. Like,
Yeah.
so if you're within 1 foot, 12 inches, 30 centimeters, the length of my penis, from a suspension mounting point, then then you can then it's a fail. Like if there's rust, if there's anything that could potentially, he's lying. Thanks, Trav. That could potentially affect structural rigidity of that suspension area. That's a fail. Like point blank, you failed your safety test. If
Yep.
it's near a seatbelt mount point, again within 12 inches, then that is a fail. Yeah, like that's a fail. If it could potentially pose a hazard to the driver, that's a fail. But if your car is pre 19, I think it's 1985 at the moment, then your car is tax
MOT,
exempt, and there's
Okay.
there's a bit more like leniency on it. And if you're I think it's 1970. I'm going to have to correct myself in the podcast now. Then you don't even need an MOT. You get one inspection and it's valid forever. Provided, again, you don't sell the car, but you need to then get a car that's old enough to be MOT exempt. And at that point, you run into rust issues and reliability issues, and then it becomes a battle for keeping the car on the road, as opposed to it just being roadworthy on paper.
To be fair, though, this is why most S bodies in the UK are just fucked.
Oh, yeah, completely.
There's rust, and then people won't cut the rust out. They'll just whack a plate over it and bit of filler, done.
Yeah,
And then whoever buys a car, it bites them on the ass.
Yeah, that is the UK attitude to rust. My S14 was pretty good when I bought it, but it hadn't seen like that much snow and stuff. And I bought it, and 3 days after I bought it, it snowed, and I crashed it. And then 2 weeks later, it snowed again, and I crashed it again. And then,
oh my God.
And then about a month later, I got done for no insurance, so I got 6 points on my license.
God.
And then a month later,
and
and then a month later, I got done for a bald tire, and then I took the car off the road for a while. And I got the UK equivalent of defected. I actually got my car banned from the road.
World cops are a lot harder on things like that, like defects and all that. Whereas cops over here, like, yeah, they're hard on defects and stuff. You most of the time, if you get a defect list, you're really only going to get 1 point or 2 points for it. And so you can't like lose half of your license points just for having a bald tire. But I feel like Australian cops are also a lot harder on like driving things. So like if you do over the speed limit or if you do a skid in front of them or whatever, I think they're a lot harder than UK cops would be on stuff like that.
The thing is, right?
Oh yeah.
UK, right? If your four tires are good and blah blah blah, you can literally chop the back end of your car off, the front end of your car off, put a clamshell, and it'll be fine to run. They won't give a shit.
Yeah, pretty much. If there's no sharp edges, it's kind of legal. It's all down to discrepancy at that point. Like, yeah, you can cut both the front and back of your car off, run tube frames, so long as there's no sharp edges, and it looks kind of presentable, and it's not rusty or hanging, then the police would be like, yeah, we can't do you for anything.
Also, depends where you are, though. Like, where I am, don't give a fuck.
Oh yeah, like if you drive through Northampton, which is where Santapod is, which is the only drag strip in the UK. If you drive through, I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments. But yeah, if you drive through Northampton, the Northampton area at all, they've got like automatic number plate recognition cameras and other cameras, and the amount of people that have been like driving through that area who've been done for windscreen stickers, and you get 3 points for windscreen stickers. Like that's
really?
a quarter of your license. Yeah, Liam Flath from the MX5 world's been done. I'm surprised I haven't been. I know a fair few people that have been done for windscreen stickers just driving through Northampton, like to a drift day at Pod or to a show at Pod or to Rockingham.
Through Northampton.
Yeah, just avoid Northampton in your min.
Yeah.
Lovely. Pedestrian safety is number one. Get defected for pop-up headlights.
Oh mate, that's like
yeah.
Yeah, if they could in the UK, they probably would. But this is the other end of the spectrum. Like everybody in the UK has got some vendetta for traffic cops, and they're all like, "Oh yeah, traffic will fuck you for everything. Like they'll take your license, they'll make sure your car's banned from the road, they'll do you for your tires, your horn, your speedo." So like when my car got banned from the road, I got pulled over by a normal cop, and he was like, "I'm going to throw the book at you. I'm going to fuck your day up." He was not traffic. He had nothing to do. He had to call traffic to confirm the problems with my car. And traffic turned up and like looked over the car. We went over the car, and he was like, "So what doesn't work?" I was like, "Well, I have no horn. Yeah. I have no wipers. Yeah. Speedo doesn't work. How do you know how fast you're going?" "Well, I just know the gearing. My exhaust was too loud. I had a bald tire. I had a welded diff, which is illegal." Well, kind of. It's a grey area. So in the eyes of the law, a welded differential is illegal because it's not what that portion of the car was designed to do. But a CAS 2-way, which is what I had in my RX-7, is legal, which is locked for 95% of the time anyway, and doesn't do what a differential does. So doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, I had a welded diff. I had stickers on the windscreen. I had no horn, no windscreen washers, basically there was a lot wrong. And traffic turned up, and he told this other cop, he was like, dude, just calm the fuck down. Like, we're going to do him for a bulb tire and make him get his car fixed. That's it. Like, and the original cop was like, you're going to end up with 9,000 points on your license. I'm going to fuck your day up. You're going to lose your job. I was like, oh no. And I got done for a bulb tire, and my car was told to be re-safety tested. That was it. And I then got a definitely clean safety test MOT done. Didn't just phone a bloke up and get it passed.
Oh,
Damn.
see,
That
talking about cops being somewhat lenient, I have to mention I have had some very good luck with like my license and being pulled over. I'll just say I've been pulled over twice for doing speed limits, like for doing speed that would result in probably a loss of license. With the number of points I've had, and I've been let off for that twice.
Jesus.
The only time I've really had a problem, like being super anal or whatever, was when I was admittedly, parked up watching skids down in the industrial estate. And they come in, block off the entire entry or exit in front of me, so I can't really get out. Everyone else leaves. And they do me for not displaying P plates, even though I was parked off the road with the car off. But, they knew that I wasn't really going to take that to court and fight it because it's not worth it for like 1 point or 2 points, I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
the one thing when I bought my S14, I was like, oh yeah, this is cool. I bought it off the guy, and he was like, yeah, everything's pretty good for roadworthy. Of course, you just have to change out the welded diff. You have to chuck the airbox back in it, yada yada yada. So I was like, oh yeah. Done all that, took it to the roadworthy, and all my mates like, fuck, you're gonna get fucked over for a roadworthy for that thing. And I'm like, oh, I don't know, it looks pretty alright. Took it to the guy, and the only things he really picked me on was like the welder diff, of course, the fucking airbox. I had to what there was a couple like just small things I had to quickly do. But then I got the car back and I realized how dodgy the fucking roadworthy was, and I was like, ooh.
See, that's what I love. Like the number of places that do dodgy roadworthies in Australia. Like you call them up and they're like, "Yeah, whatever, just send us some money and we'll road your car." Like it makes it a lot easier for people like us when you get defected and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was gonna say I have to get a new roadworthy for my car, because I still haven't re-registered it. I haven't re-registered it in my name because I got donated it. It's actually my cousin's old car. My auntie and uncle donated to me. They said, "Oh, we heard you got a job here. You can, if you don't have any other car to get to work, you can use this one. Your cousin doesn't use it anymore. It's a bit of a junk heap, but hopefully it'll do you good." And I went, "Oh, sweet, thanks." So I got that when I started work in February, and yeah, the rego's just about to. I think it runs out in like a week. So I really should I mean, it's not like I'm going to work at the moment because everyone's at home, but I should probably organize it because otherwise, if I do get called back into work in a week or two, assuming this stuff dies down, then I won't be able to get to work. So, but yeah, I'm going to use a dodgy number for that, because I don't know how else to do it anyway. But I don't know if it's just lenient where I am because I live out in the middle of Whoop Whoop. So I don't know. It's probably harsher in cities and stuff. But for me, like the closest speed camera there's one in Nambour, and it's 30 minutes away. Ironically enough, it's like very close to where I work, and I actually do go through it when I leave work to go and get some food. But like it's 30 minutes away, and if I wasn't, I've never gone through it until I've started working. I didn't even know it was there. And there's I think a registration scanner on the Bruce Highway that's maybe 20 minutes from my house, also on the way to work. And that's it. As far as I know, that's everything in like a 50-something kilometer radius of my house. There might be some stuff in the other direction, where there's like Gympie, where it's a bit more populated, or maybe in Maroochydore near the ocean where it's a bit more populated. There's probably a few cameras and stuff there. But like, I don't really have to have that problem because even though there are like 2 cameras around, I don't actually go through them. Well, there's a red light camera in Nambour as well, but like that's it. There's one of each, like in a 50-kilometer radius. And also because I live out in the middle of nowhere, I don't think the police are really watching for modified cars because it's a sort of rural area. There is a Hoon watch list apparently because one of my friends got put on that because he owns a GQ Patrol, or he did at the time, and he got put on the watch list because his neighbor's a cop and he used to start up the car early in the morning to go to work, and it's a TD 42, so it's loud and, you know, tractor-ish. So the cop like just got the shits, and he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna put you on the Hoon watch list." Wow! And so all I had to do was call up and go, my neighbor's a piece of shit cop. He just put me on the list. I've never done a skid in my life. He was like, he basically just went, I own a patrol. Like, do you really think I do skids or whatever? And they were like, yeah, no, fair enough. You got a clean record. And they took him off. Yeah, I don't know. I guess it's for me. It's not a big problem. I don't encounter it. Like when Dakota, my page's other admin, got his patrol, he bought it for $5,000. And it was in pieces. He had to put the whole interior back in. He had to basically build it from scratch. He had to put all the bumpers on and all this shit. And the roof had, the outside of the roof above the window lining had rust. And as soon as he told me it had rust, I was like, oh, no, you fucked. Don't mess with that. It's rust. And he was like, no, it's all good. It's not structural. It's just cosmetic on the outside. And sure enough, they sanded it back and filled it up, and it was all good, and he resprayed it, and it looks $1 million. Except everything else he has on the car is defectable because I think here, especially this far north in Queensland, it's not modified cars that are the problem, it's trucks. And it's trucks with illegal lift kits and tires that are too big and, I don't know, spotlights that obstruct your view or some shit. Because, he drives around and he's like, oh, man, I just went past. Oh, look. He goes like, oh, look, there's a cop. And he's like, and all he can do is clench because he's got, I don't know, like 4 inches of lift or some shit. He's also got illegally dark window tint. When he thought he was getting a dodgy roadworthy when he got the car. So the guy turned up and he actually did a regular roadworthy, and he basically gave him a lift of all the shit that was fucked. And he was like, well, fuck that, I'm calling the dodgy guy. And so the dodgy guy came in and was like, yeah, this thing looks sick, here you go, and passed him. I could go and find the list, but I can't be asked. It's somewhere. But the tint's so dark. The guy who did the regular roadworthy said, he said, how did you even get this tint? Like, this is so illegally dark, they don't even make this anymore. And it's just completely black. It's terrible.
Baller levels
and it's
of dark.
That reminds me of
one time. All the windows.
Reminds me of one time. We're out, just out at night, and just cars driving around, and cops wanting to, just pull over anyone they could find. Anyway, we pulled into this car park, and a cop followed us off the motorway essentially, and they go up to my mate's R33, who was admittedly the most illegally modified looking car of the group, and they go to test his window tint. Turns out it was 1%, 1% light transmittance tint. So it was basically black.
That's just paint, Jesus.
Isn't it? You think so?
Yeah.
The thing with down here that bamboozles me is that the fact that people are on 4-wheel drives. Down here, cops don't really give a fuck about 4-wheel drives, and they're worried about us with Commodores and Fords and cars that can do skids. They're more worried about us, but all my mates who drive 4-wheel drives just mang the things anywhere they can. They'll take a corner at 30 Ks and sorry, not 30 Ks, 60 Ks, and you just hear the 4-wheel drive tires chirping along, and they drive so fucking ridiculous. But
I was gonna say 30 Ks is 15 mile an hour. That's 20 mile an hour. That's
but 4-wheel drives don't take corners.
Yeah, but it's still ridiculously slow.
It's pretty bad. It seems to be a much larger prejudice here. I suppose it's a good thing because I'm sure as hell not going to be owning a 4-wheel drive. But yeah, for someone like my other admin, he loves them. I mean, he loves street cars too, but he happened to get his hands on a 4-wheel drive first because admittedly they're much cheaper and much easier to come by. But like, I suppose there's a difference between having a street car and having illegal quotation marks mods. Because you don't always know about them. The only thing I know about is because of this patrol, the tint and cars being too low, so that you can. It's meant to be something like, oh, you need to be able to get up a curb or whatever. But as far as as far as that stuff goes, modified cars, it's like there's a whole list of things that they can book you for that you don't know about. Whereas with the four-wheel drives, it's like, well, don't have too much lift, that's illegal. Don't have tires that poke out, or don't have ones that are too big, or I don't know, whatever the fuck it is. I can't even remember now. But like, Dakota willingly drives around with several inches more lift than the legal limit, and then every time he sees a cop, he like makes sure he's looking straight ahead and he's got both hands on the wheel or whatever. And I'm like, you do this to yourself, man. Like, it's fair enough you got a street car, you don't know exactly what it is they could book you for, but he just willingly puts all these defectable. He doesn't have the sway bars in either. So all the cop has to do is look under his front fender and go, oh, you got no sway bars. He goes, yeah, officer, it's for more flex when I go off-roading. You're not going to fucking care. Again, there's more stuff that you willingly have that you can get defected for. And then when he sees a cop, he's like, oh my God, look, it's a police car. Oh my God, quick, I need to get away from them as fast as I can so they get a good look at the car. And that's the other thing, because the window tint's it's on every window except the windscreen. So it doesn't actually matter it doesn't matter how dark the window tint is on the car, as long as it's not on the front, like on the driver's window and the passenger's window. So the rear door windows and the back window and the rear panel windows or whatever, they can be like just black for privacy. Like that doesn't matter. They only do that so that you can like have proper visibility, and also so that they can see you, I guess.
But yeah, it's the same in the UK.
His has that on all the windows. So then if he sees the cop goes, quick, wind your window down so that they can't see the tint on the window. And I'm like, oh, I'm glad he only got it a few weeks before I got my license. So then I got my license and I didn't. Well, actually, it wasn't the fact that I got my license. He got that car a few weeks before he got his girlfriend. And I really haven't seen him since, unfortunately. So that means I don't have to listen to it or deal with it anymore. But yeah, like I just remember every time, like he's just got all these mods that he knows he's going to get defected for. But even then, the cops don't really care. We haven't been pulled up for anything. And yeah, I'm actually quite surprised. I would have thought by now he would have at least gotten something, but no, he's fine. He really likes it, so he attempts to daily drive it. Tries to drive it every day.
So when I first bought my S14, I used to daily drive that everywhere. I was doing like 110 k's a day for work commute in an S14, which in the UK is like a ridiculous amount of commute, and that was up the M25. And so at this point, my S14 had, because I basically bought it, owned it 3 days, crashed it, and like bent a wheel in half, and didn't have any money because I'd spent it all on my S14. I was like, I've bought a car, and then I crashed it and fucked it instantly. So I had some VW Golf steelies on the front, because my car, I've got adapters with my car as well.
Oh yeah.
Which I think are illegal in Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got done. I didn't get done for anything there. Basically, I had VW Golf steelies on the front, 16-inch Golf steelies, and on the rear I had 17 by 10 ET minus 10 wheels with like these ridiculous stretched 235s, and they weren't that stretched; they're just big wheels. I had grey over fenders that were like half cut, and the previous owner had pulled the side skirts off my car because they were worth some money because they were genuine Navan. My car had a grey UK rear bumper because, again, the Navan was worth money. So, like, everything that was worth money on my car was taken off it, and I basically got left with a car that looked like a UK that had been crashed 400 times and just had, like, yeah, it basically looked like the rear end was a different colour to the front end, and it looked like it had been cut and chopped about and made out of 3 different S14s. I was doing 110 k's a day in it, up and down the M25, and just like screaming, pull me over. I never had any tints, but I also didn't have What else didn't I have on that car at that point in time? Yeah, I don't think I had a horn. I don't think I had. I basically bought this S14 for like cheap because it was broken-ish. I was like, yeah, it's fine. It'll be legal. And yeah,
That's
it
what
was.
they all say.
Yeah, and then I got pulled over like a month later and done for everything ever. And had my car taken off me. But yeah, it didn't go well.
Yeah, what are the laws about getting your car not repossessed, but convicted? I don't know. You get it
Impounded.
taken off you, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the word. So I'm for brain fart. Yeah, you get it impounded. What like? I asked the Australian guys as well because I don't actually know. Is it the second or the third time you get caught for like hooning? Because over here we have, well, I guess before they made, we've got a hoon law legislation that like now they brought in a new bunch of laws of like shit that you can't do and you get done for it under the hoon legislation that basically marks you as a reckless driver. But before that, I think it was like, I don't even know if it was reckless use of a motor vehicle or what it was. But yeah, if you did a skid out your driveway or something, leaving a car meet, they'd be like, well, we don't do that. But then after 2006, when they brought in the hoon laws, now there's a shit ton of like restrictions about if you get caught like more than once, you basically get your car taken off you and you go to court and all this shit happens. So yeah, doing skids in the Indusso is probably not the best idea if you know that police are going to be watching it or whatever.
Yeah,
I don't know.
The page
What are the laws? Is it
lockdown
once
skids?
or twice or three times or what? Like
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I'm not too sure. But do you know the page lockdown skids?
No, but yeah.
The terrible Facebook group that's become Zip Ties 2. It's just boomers versus zoomers in the skids department.
Holden versus Ford, pretty much. But like, it's funny. I
Yeah.
seen a post on there. It was like, today's conspiracy theory is lockdown skids was made by cops. So they can patrol everyone who's actually doing skids. I was like,
oh,
oh,
that's so bad. That's such a bad group.
It's I've been caught a fair few times doing skids, messing around and doing the wrong thing. I once even ran out of fuel mid-skid, and had to push my car off a roundabout, and the police turned up at my house because, yeah, my car was parked next to the scene of the crime, which wasn't ideal.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, that was great. That was back when I had my first Volvo. But there's no chance system with regards to doing illegal things in cars. It's all down to what's wrong with the car when they actually pull you over. So, like, you could be doing hectic skids in it, and they could take your license off you and impound your car because of that. But on the other end of things, they could pull you over and be like, "You're doing skids, calm down, but you've got a bald tyre, so we're going to impound your car for that." Or they could pull you over and there could be completely nothing wrong and be like, "No, just drive home, just calm the fuck down." Or they could give you a load of points.
On the topic of impounding shit, one of my mates, he's a pea plater. He's on his green peas, and he bought because he has like a Commodore Ute, and he bought a Ford Falcon Ute. It was an XR6T, so it had a big turbo on it, big turbos. And so he bought it.
Story from last week that you told Callum and I, isn't it?
And he drove it.
Yeah, we know where this is
fixed
going.
it up. He fixed it up, and he's like, "Oh yeah." I'm like, "Mate, you know what's gonna happen the moment you drive that." So no, sure right. First drive, he got pulled over by a cop, and the car's now impounded.
So that was for driving a high performance vehicle, yeah.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Alright, I'm gonna look up the hoon laws. I'm gonna look up the hoon laws.
Yeah, I was just about to say. Just because I was going to do that myself, but thank you. Yeah, Travis has just said that he reckons in New South Wales you get 3 chances, and then they impound it for 30 days if you don't own the car. But he reckons that if it is your car and you get caught doing something like that, that's it.
Alright,
which is
I will. Oh, you go. You finish. I'll talk after.
I was just going to say that's pretty
I've got
bad.
me ramen.
You've got your ramen.
I've got the website up here of like at least the Queensland legislation. So they came into effect 2013, and to crack down illegal street racing and hooning, they have power to mobilise and confiscate vehicles. So in Queensland, we have Type 1 and Type 2 hooning offences. Type
like
1
diabetes.
is more... Yeah, well, so Type 1's generally like the worst. Type 1's like the worst things. Type 2's kind of like So Type 1 is dangerous driving, careless driving, organising, promoting or taking part in racing and speed trials, willfully starting a motor vehicle or driving makes unnecessary noise or smoke, and evading police. Which basically, if you listen to any of those, means any of us can technically be done for a Type 1 hooning offence because our cars are unnecessarily loud. If they blow smoke or whatever, they can get done for that. Even if you like have a car club and you're doing a cruise, organising, promoting and taking part in racing and speed trials, they could do you for that if they really wanted to. Type 2 hooning offences are actually like lesser, which is weird because you see some of them it's exceeding the speed limit by more than 40 k's an hour, and that's still better than doing a skid.
That sounds pretty fucking bad than me and the homies are balling out as a Type 2 offence.
Yeah, but like high range drink driving, driving without a license when you have been suspended, driving a vehicle that is uninsured and unregistered, driving a defective vehicle, or driving under a 24 suspension order. So Type 2 offences are generally lesser, but the thing is, some of the stuff on there, it seems like way more dangerous than doing a little skid out of your local
I was about to say, are you sure I was about to say, are you sure you got that the right way around? Because all of the Type 2 stuff sounds like far more serious stuff than any of the Type 1 stuff mentioned.
So I'm getting to that point now. So you do not have to be the vehicle's owner. If you commit a hooning offence while you're driving any vehicle, including one owned by a friend or family member, it can be impounded or immobilised. Type 1 hooning offences. For the first Type 1 offence, the vehicle you are driving can be impounded or immobilised for 90 days. For the second offence, you can be impounded and may be confiscated at the end of any legal proceedings against you. Type 2. For the first Type 2 offence, you will not be impounded or immobilised. However, for your future offences, you will be. For the second offence, it will be impounded for 7 days. Third offence, 90 days. Fourth offence, you'll be impounded and may be confiscated at the end of any legal proceedings. So, essentially, Europe is skid. Your car can be impounded for, but you drive over 40 k's an hour above the limit. It takes 3 times for that same impound to happen. Same as driving a car over 15% blood alcohol. You can do that 3 times before you get your car taken away for 90 days. So it seems kind of really retarded to me anyway.
Wait, drink driving is like that belittled. Jesus, because over here, if you get pulled over, anything. So, okay,
it's pretty bad here. We have maybe it's because they've numbed it down, because we have so many people here that drink drive. That is, I think, the worst thing for us is we have plenty of speeders, as I'm sure everywhere does, so that's probably not too different, but we have so many drink drivers. It's maybe not as bad now, but I remember when I was a kid, every second thing that came up on the news was just like teenagers or people in their early 20s going out to parties, drink driving, and then getting in horrific car crashes, and then you hear, the sad stories on the news. That happened all the time. It could also be because I don't watch the news anymore, but drink driving here is a real big problem. It's pretty bad.
In Australia, it's definitely a big problem because, I think it comes from the fact that we are so far apart from everyone. And I'm not saying anything good about drink driving. It's terrible and shouldn't be done. But because Australia is such a big country, people seem to think that it's okay to go to a mate's place, have a couple of drinks with dinner, get carried away, have too much drinks, and then they're like, oh shit, well, I'm fucking 30 k's away from home, I have to drive. But it's way too accepted in Australia that people can drink and drive. It just shouldn't be accepted at all, but unfortunately here it kind of is. I don't know.
On a side note, have any of you, Australian boys, have any of you seen in the highway patrol cars?
Not inside them, no.
No, I went to a car meet up in. One of my mates held a car meet up in Melbourne, and we went up to the car meet. And the moment I pulled up, because this is when I had the S14, and I pulled up to the car meet, and on the way there, 3 people got pulled over by highway patrol cars, and I'm like, oh fuck, all right, please don't pull me over, please don't pull me over. So I pulled into the place, and it was full of highway patrols and just cops, and I'm like, oh fuck, this thing's getting closed down already or something. But see, I have respect for cops. They're only just doing their jobs. I have nothing bad against them, but it's the cops that obviously take out a perspective that make things a bit trash. But when they were all there was actually they were there to just make sure no one was going to do anything ridiculous. They were there to have a good time with us all as well. And so I got to go around, have a chat to some of the cops, and it was actually pretty nice, having a chat to some of them, talking about a heap of shit. And I ended up getting to have a look in like one of the newer BMW highway patrol cars, and they are fucking fully loaded with so much damn shit. Like they have like heat cameras, they have like cameras all surrounding the vehicle. They can register number plates, like 400 plates per minute, and they can fucking infrared cameras and fucking facial scanners and all sorts of bloody fancy tech and shit. It's like fucking Jesus.
See, going off your point that you made that not all cops. I know it's kind of disregarding the whole point of like cop cars being crazy fucking full of technology.
Yeah.
I have no problem with cops either. It's just it happens to be that the highway patrol tend to be the ones who kind of make it bad, especially for us like car guys. Because like I used to run a car club, and we were having big events, and I was having hosting an event with a mate down here where I am. And we're going into this abandoned car park. It was like an old master's building, I'm pretty sure. Basically, nothing had been happening there for a year and a half. Huge car park, like, sweet, we'll host it there. And when we get down there, I'm pretty sure the owner comes down and is like, I don't really like everyone being here. Called the cops and us. They came down. We go over and talk to them. We're like, they're like, basically, you guys are trespassing. You have 20 minutes to leave. Yeah, blah, blah. They're being all harsh. We're like, yep, sweet, no, we'll get everyone out. We got everyone out of there within about 3 to 4 minutes, and for the courtesy, they put defect stations on every exit and defected multiple cars. And then you see on the news later, that week, big hoon meetup, cracked down on. None of us were doing anything. No one was revving. All just parked looking at cars. And I know for a fact, after that, people went out and did skids because there was nothing else to do. So it kind of like, in Melbourne, it might be a bit better, but like down here, road police and command, they just come and like, they come and try and break up these meets to try and spur, I feel, to try and spur people on to go do other stuff, because then they can just get more, like, pull more people over if they're out.
It's all revenue raising.
Here, I think it is quite a bit.
Yeah, we have.
I do have a gripe with like road traffic. Sorry for interrupting you. I was just gonna say I have a gripe with with the traffic cops and the highway patrol. Well, maybe not so much a gripe, but like regular patrol cars, they kind of go around just like, oh, no, drunk and disorderly pedestrians, and no one runs. I guess that is kind of it. Oh, go to Macca's and, here there's no, sit in the car and eat and listen to the scanners and make sure that like where the clubs are or whatever is and there's no trouble or things like that. Where, being a police officer, whereas highway patrol's job is to sit on the highway and book people for speeding. But even worse than that, traffic police's job is to do, fair enough, highway patrol, don't speed on the highway, dangerous, you're already doing 110, anything more than that, and, you slip or lose control of the vehicle, whatever, it's almost all the time it's fatal. But road traffic guys, it's stuff like, this person ran a stop sign, or this person didn't give way, or like it's stuff like that. That's their job. Their job is to do stuff like that. And yeah, that's just the purest form of revenue raising I can think of is traffic police. And yeah, so regular cops are actually keeping us safe and protecting us. I suppose in a way traffic cops are too, but something about them that I'm just like, is this really, why is this a job? Like, I don't know.
Like I can understand them going after people like running stop signs or giveaways, because that kind of makes sense. That could cause crashes. But then like also you have the traffic cops like, oh, that car's loud, I'm gonna go after that. And like, oh, that car's going, like in a 60, you could be doing like 65, 67. It's really not going to make that big of a difference in the grand scheme of things. Be like, no, I'm gonna go pull that car over. And also, I've had many experiences where you're driving along, they've done something more dangerous to come follow you than it would be just to leave you as you are. And you see in a lot of the dashcam videos, like there's, I think it was New South Wales.
I think I know the one you're talking about.
In front of the truck.
Oh, no. I've seen the one where the guy was in the 79 series and the cop just pulls his like illegal U-turn and gets cleaned up.
Yeah, like they do that to go chase like a modified car when it would literally just be safer to leave that loud car whatever it's doing. But no, they rip a U-turn in front of like a big truck or a big 79 series at highway speed. It just makes no sense.
Yeah, no, you're right. That reminds me of a scene I saw where I think it was from one of the patrol shows. Again, sorry for cutting you off, Sam. But yeah, this cop he's already defecting someone else who's in a lowered Commodore, and he's got the wheel of death, and he's like, nah, it's not making it through, mate. And the crackhead with the speed dealer shades is like, what do you mean? And he's doing that, and there's like a traffic buildup on the other side of the road. So there's a line of traffic, and there's a guy in an XR6 Turbo Ute, I think it was a BF, and he goes past, and he doses it, and he's got, I guess it was a blow-off valve. It was like a gate to atmosphere thing or whatever, like an illegal one that just goes straight into the atmosphere. And so it makes that purge. It made that purge noise. And the cop looks up and he turns around and he sees it and he's like, he points and he's like, he's got an illegal blow-off valve. And he quickly, you see the guy, he's like, oh fuck. And he gets around and the traffic starts moving again and he's out of there. And the cop just stops defecting crackhead in the Commodore, jumps in. And yeah, basically he's only chasing him for like, the Falcon's just gone. He's absolutely gone. Can't even see him. But the cop gets in the cop car. And he starts, going in the, last known direction of travel, probably only for like 30, 45 seconds. But the whole time, he's on the wrong side of the road. He runs an intersection and nearly gets cleaned up himself. And I'm like, this is for a bloke that's got an atmosphere purge gate or whatever it is. Like, does that really matter? You're already defecting someone else. Like, damn.
Yeah, what a lot of people get confused with is because like people are like, oh, it's got a blow-off valve, oh, it's illegal. Technically, blow-off valves are fine because all they're doing is just releasing the pressure from the intake system, which is already just oxygen. What's actually illegal is wastegates because wastegates what regulates your boost. So you can have an internal wastegate which recircs back to the exhaust, so the exhaust gases that bypass the turbo go back to the exhaust, go through the cat and all that sort of shit. When you have an external dump pipe or wastegate, it just dumps the exhaust gases straight next to the exhaust, not going through any catalytic converters or anything like that. So that's why they're illegal, because emissions. But you can have a blow-off valve and it's fine. Like, there's nothing wrong about it. It's just wastegate that dump the atmosphere. Scream of
sorry, I'm so uneducated in all of that, but yeah, it was just that straight to atmosphere thing, the little purge noise or whatever, and the cop was like, fucking get him quick, get in the car, go fucking book him.
I shared that on Facebook sometime. I'm trying to find the video now so you can put it in the link to whatever this ends up being. So, but it's so dumb. Like, you see them take off and they're being extremely freaking dangerous to try and chase this car that has a vent to atmosphere blow valve. And it would have been a lot safer just to let him go, but no, they chased it as if it was like a fucking murder or something. They were flying
they're
past.
defecting someone.
So,
they're already in the process of writing someone up, and they're like, quick, there's another one.
So the funny thing is, in the UK, it's kind of like a grey area in the law. Your exhaust is not allowed to be too loud. So you're not allowed to have a straight to atmosphere. You've got to have a catalytic converter in it. That said, no one will ever test your emissions at the side of the road. I don't think I've ever seen it done or ever heard of it done. The other part of it is no cop would ever look at your S14 whatever with a screamer sticking out of the bonnet 3 inches and go, I know what that is, because none of them do. Honestly, they're useless here. I'm gonna put a screamer on my car because I have no fear of being pulled over with it. It's illegal, on the base of things, but no one knows what it is. So, and until when I got pulled over the second time and done for my bulb tire, they were like, "Oh, we're going to do an exhaust noise test," and they got me to rev it up, and I got nowhere near boost. They were like, "Oh yeah, just take it to $4,000." So I was at $4,000, and the car wasn't spooling up. It wasn't venting gate. There was no boost being made because it was under no load. So
yeah, that's the one. I was trying to look for that one.
So yeah, and
I have seen that one. Yeah.
Basically, yeah, it was like, yeah, it's not excessively loud. You're fine. And I was like, well, it is excessively loud, first of all. But if you're not making boost, and that was their noise test, they didn't get a decibel meter. They were like, is it excessively loud? And just listen to me rev it, and that was it. Obviously, if
they didn't have a decibel tester thingy.
They didn't even bother.
Lovely.
It's it would be a
So
different
professional.
story if they were like, take it to Limmy on gate, and I'd be like, all right, yeah, now you're gonna arrest me. Yeah, but like, or go on then, rip a fat skid. We want to hear the noise. Like, you'd be like, yeah, well, of course I'm gonna get arrested now. But like,
if it rips the skin done, mate.
yeah, like they're the least prepared police here in the UK. Traffic are the people that are meant to be able to do you for those things, and traffic have never once pulled me over. And then when they have been involved, it's because another cop has called them, and they've turned up and they've been like, "Just chill out, man. We understand you want to make like the world a better place, but doing one kid for not having windscreen wipers is like on a sunny day is like a waste of time. Why are you
I
doing
remember
this?"
TAFE last year in my apprenticeship group, we had this heated conversation because the guy who does, like my TAFE teacher, he also does roadworthies. And we're having a conversation because all the boys in my apprenticeship group are like, fuck yeah, I'm out back. I've got my 5-poster bull bar and my 79 series. Fuck yeah. 5-poster bull bars are illegal because of like the way they're built. And lots of people have them anyway. And so one of them was talking about them, and the teacher goes, "Nah, mate, you know they're not legal." And he goes, "Yeah, my 79 series got a roadworthy with a 5-poster." He's like, "Well, shouldn't have. They're not roadworthy." And we had this whole conversation, like this whole heated argument of all the cunts in my bloody like TAFE class trying to tell the teacher, "Nah, bull bars are legal. 5-posters are fucking mint." And the teacher's straight up like, "Nah, mate, nah."
Right, I think we need to have a chat about, first of all, something that isn't the police. Because as funny as it is, Trav did point out earlier, I thought we were going to try and avoid politics, and all we've done is politics for the whole chat.
Oh well, this can be the cop episode, can't it?
Yeah,
Please,
we're
man.
just
Out of the way.
yeah. Oh, Delby. Right. Anyway, no. What I was gonna say is, you weren't here last week, Max. You didn't get to tell us your car story on week 1. Do you want to tell it now?
I'm eating.
You're eating. Well, that's helpful, isn't it? Try and put you in the spotlight, and you take yourself straight back out of it. You
Well,
wanker.
something else. I don't know if you guys remember this because none of us are from New Zealand. But just when Lockie was talking about the car meet getting shut down and then everyone getting defected on their way out, that just reminded me. Did you guys see the videos on Facebook of some old cunt that just brought a steamroller to a car meet in New
Yes,
Zealand
I
and
saw
started
that.
like running? He started flattening cars.
What a hero!
What?
Yeah, I saw
Do
that.
you
I
guys
saw
remember that? Yeah. See, there you go. At least I am sane. I do remember it correctly. Yeah, some guy in New Zealand came down. It was like some kids were just chilling in the street in their cars, and he rolls up with a steamroller, and he
And he
takes the
rolled over
steamroller to
cars.
this I think he got a Caldina. There was like an ST245 Caldina sitting there, and he just like smashed the back in. Unfortunately, that car's very tall, so he didn't quite get it under the steamroller. Not unfortunately, thankfully. But yeah, like he smashed the back of that in, and he started going for other cars. I just remember that. As an Old Hope posted about it the other day, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I remember that." I just thought of it again now. That was mental.
I mean, that's kind of the dream, though. Like, imagine being able to turn up to a car meet in a steamroller and be like, you know, I don't really like that E36, and just run it over. Just
They
get
see
rid of
me
it.
rolling. I hate it.
I think he was just an angry boomer who was like, "You kids are being too loud," and that was how he.
So he got his
attempted to enact
steamroller
revenge.
out.
He was like, "Everyone go away! I'm trying to sleep," and then, yep, you get your car flattened.
The funny thing about boomers, right? Like a lot of the boomers who are shit used to fucking rip skids all the time down Main Street, and like now they're like, "Oh nah, I'm trying to sleep. I bought property and fucking like just fuck off."
Yeah,
Chill,
legit.
bro.
My mum's like, when I was your age, my dad was teaching me how to do doughies in his muscle car and all this sorts of shit. And I told mum, "Oh yeah, I went to the track and did a skid," and she's like, "Oh, you need to be more respectful in your car." And I'm
Yeah.
like, wait. So you're telling me the story of you learning to do doughies in my dad's car and goes out the window?
Yeah, it's
Damn.
mad. Parents and their double standards, eh? Like my mum's always been my mum likes cars, but not in the same way as us. Like she likes nice shiny ones. Like she's got a Porsche Boxster, which
Poor man's
is
Porsche.
yeah, exactly. Except she's a woman. But yeah, like she's got a Porsche Boxster, and she goes, "Oh, I've got my Porsche," and drives it around. She loves it. Fair enough. Like more than welcome to enjoy your car, not a problem at all. But she absolutely hates like cars that people have modified or touched in any way. And sometimes she's like, "Oh, that's quite tasteful modification." Like when I first put over fenders on the front of my car, or widened arches because they were body color. And she was like, "Oh, that doesn't look too bad. You're cleaning your car up finally." And then I can't remember what I did. Oh, I immediately fitted wheels that didn't fit, and she immediately went down the route of, "It's dangerous. You need to put it in the bin. You're gonna kill everyone." And like it just like, and I had a VW Polo back in the day that I took the springs out of to get it low enough, and she told me that was dangerous, and I was like, "This is some bullshit." Looking back, massively dangerous. Terrible idea. Don't take the springs out of anything. But like it was just she's got no time for modified cars or me trying to do anything. My first car was a classic Mini, and I did an engine swap on that, and she just got angry with it being in the garage. Like it's like I bought a nice car for my first car, and even she didn't even like that. I was like, oh,
You woman.
yeah. But, she's all right normally, but like you get cars involved, and I'm like banned from cars.
Yeah, that's totally going to be the same for me. I'm going to get a car that I might go, as I said in the first episode, maybe, how I was like, I don't want impractical mods and, all the rest of it. Anything that I do, Mum will probably be like, is that safe? Is that legal? Is that all right? Probably just because she wants me to be safe and, wants me to come home every night and not get into a horrific accident. But yeah, you don't really want having helicopter parents when you're a car enthusiast would be terrible because the whole time they just be like, don't get anything too powerful and don't do anything that like jeopardizes the integrity of the car or the safety or whatever. And don't, I mean, most of the laws here don't let you do that. You can't swap your steering wheel if it's got a factory airbag in it. You can only swap your steering wheel if it doesn't have a factory airbag.
That's the same law here, but nobody enforces it.
Is it?
See? Oh, you guys go.
My
I
MX
was just laughing. It's all good.
airbag.
So what is yours? An NA
Well,
or an NB?
that's a 30-year-old car now, isn't it?
Yours is an NB.
What?
Yours is a Mark II.
Mine's Mark II. 2000 reg. It's an Azola edition.
Oh, so yours was an NB, not an NA.
Yeah. So yours should have an airbag if it's 2000.
It doesn't. It has a snap-on steering wheel.
You mean snap off? Because if it's like I didn't know snap-on made steering wheels.
I went into the Snap-on van at work, and I'm like, all right, how can you rate me today? And he had a Snap-on bright red fender protector. So I'm like, fuck yeah, $100, I'll buy it. And now it just sits up on my back seat along the bench of it. So you move through the front windscreen, and you just say Snap-on. Big flex.
Big flex.
I don't know if it's just the base, like the first thing that people do to their interior, but like I'm looking at cars for import right now because I'm stuck at home and now I'm fused to GooNet because all I want to do is look at cars available in Japan. And I'm looking at Honda Beats at the moment because they're really cheap. And this doesn't just apply to the Beat. This applies to I think they're sick. Bit more interesting, much rarer than a cappuccino, although they've probably got way less tuning potential. But I digress because this probably applies to every car in Japan. Actually, well, maybe not every car, but all of the ones I've looked at that are cars that are known for being modified, because I'll be looking at a car and I go, oh, this is good mileage. It's in decent condition. It's a nice price. And then I'll have a look at interior pics, and it's got some sort of knockoff racing seat and a wood grain steering wheel and a $5 shift knob. And I look at it like, why? What overcame the owner to make these modifications? What was wrong with the stock wheel, the stock shift knob, and the stock seat? Like, fair enough, you get a racing wheel, you get a nice wheel, but they get like ones that are like the old style 3-point with like wood grain rim, and then the shift knob is just like a metal cylinder, and then the racing seat looks like it cost $10.
Because
And it's
Japan.
like, what was wrong with the regular? Yeah, exactly. It's like, what was wrong with all the regular
See,
stuff? And they're like, no,
you know
it's
those,
Japan,
like,
we got
old-
to change everything.
Do you know those old like white like outdoor plastic chairs?
Yeah.
Just wrap a car right on that and bolt it into your car.
Wasn't that done in a Top Gear episode or something? I swear.
I wouldn't have a clue.
The heater in the car and the little wood grain floor and shit.
So yeah, they did
Yeah,
they
just
put
that
a cottage
chair, yeah.
inside a house, inside a Mercedes W124 or something.
Yeah, then he put like a reclinable chair in there.
It was baller.
What about the
Yeah.
car that had the like full interior tile?
Yeah, that's the same car that
that's
we're
the
on
one
about.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking of. Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the log
Yeah.
burn, everything.
Yeah, so
Right,
I look
but-
at cars and I'm like, oh, this one's nice and clean. And then, yeah, no, it's got all the steering wheel shit changed out. And I'm like, oh, rip.
See,
Just,
I've got a vendetta against standard steering wheels in cars. Like everything I
Really?
get in, I'm like, I need a new steering wheel. I hate this. I hate like the whole rubbery, fake leather tackiness. I just put it in the bin. Like I've got a wood rim wheel that goes in every car I own, and honestly, I cannot
I have a
live without it.
Grip Royale Adam LZ limited edition wheel on my wall that I'm waiting for a hub adapter so I can put it in my fucking car.
You won't use it, cunt.
I want to. I need a hub adapter.
Power.
Yeah, I gotta look into it.
Also, by the way, boys, I've just spent the last 10, 15 minutes trying to find that video of like the cops chasing after that car with the BOV. Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
the post I shared on Facebook has been deleted, so I can't find it anywhere.
Mint.
Oh, rip. Well, that kind of says something about it then, doesn't it?
Well, by the time this goes up next Friday or Saturday, whenever I decide to upload it,
Yeah, we'll
hopefully
find
someone's
it. You can
found it
just-
by then.
Yeah,
Not just
you
link
can just
it.
overlay it. You can just overlay it with no audio over the top of the screen. Same with that illegal U-turn one. As soon as I saw the thumbnail for that, I was like, "Oh god, that's the one where he's on the on ramp, and he just turns straight in front of that truck, gets T-boned."
No, I'm just going
Oh,
to put it in the
crap.
description because if I'm doing this on... oh, by the way, to anyone who is still listening somehow at this hour point, we are now going to be on SoundCloud. Yay! That'll
Oh
be
my
in the
God,
description
are
as well. Not SoundCloud, fuck me, Spotify, that's what I'm on about.
I was about
Uh,
to say, do you mean Spotify? Why the fuck are we putting this on SoundCloud?
I could put it on SoundCloud as well, it'd be funny.
We ain't
Yeah.
no amateur rapping, dog.
I'm gonna start being fucking sad boy amateur rapper. I'm gonna like get like fucking fucking teardrops tattooed on my face and shit. You know,
Fuck yeah.
graffiti.
Yeah. Bring a
Imagine
cup
that's-
of lean to every podcast.
A cup of lean into
Probably
every
just quick Gatorade because you ain't about that life.
Just Sprite.
Some
Styrofoam.
Sprite.
It's just Sprite in a styrofoam cup.
Just
Yeah.
open
Oh.
every...
That reminds me. I was driving down the street the other day and there was this group of Eshe like fucking lads just sitting at the bus stop and they're all looking, they're like 14 or so. Like their fanny packs strapped vertically in their fucking like knee-high socks and bullshit, whatever they wear. And I went past, did a little cheeky like take off in first gear all the way to like 6K and bloody dozed hard and I watched all their faces just light up like, oh my fucking god. And I was impressed.
Lit.
Liam is sure.
See, I always used to do, when I first got my Nissan and I'd see like a group of kids out on their bikes or scooters, I always used to be that guy that would do like a burnout in the middle of a public area just to be like, get the validation of some 7-year-olds. I'd be there like, oh yeah, they're into scooters, I'm going to do a burnout here. It was, I don't know why I did it.
I wish we could do that in Australia, but you do that, and there's that many cops that'll just pop out of the woodwork and like, nah, you've lost your license in your car for 90 days.
Oh, there are that many cops here, but if they come round the corner and just see me doing a burnout, I'm fucked regardless of what I do, so I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's fine.
I don't know how you didn't
You
get
don't-
caught at that Reading Jap meet.
Oh, what, doing the donut in the middle of the dual carriageway?
Yes.
I mean, that wasn't me.
The most satisfying Australian thing that you could do is when someone yells, "Do a sick cunt, you burnout," and you actually do a burnout.
Yeah, every time anyone's ever... So there's basically, if you go through, like, quite a lot of big car shows in the UK on YouTube that have been covered by, it's a thing in the UK. It's like, car meet leaving, normally covered by Adam C. A lot of the time, I'm the one doing something stupid in those videos in one of my cars. So, like last year...
Please send me all the photos of your cars so I can look out for them.
So if you search for Simply Jap 2019 on YouTube, or Simply Jap 2019 Leaving, there's a certain white RX-7 FC convertible in about 12 of the photos, of the cover photos, with flames shooting out the back of it. That's me. If you search for Reading Jap Meet Leaving, I'm in a couple of the photos for that, in my S14.
So your FC was a vert, was it?
Yeah, I had an FC Vert Turbo 2 that I paid not a lot of money for. And
Fuck, it was turbo as well.
yeah, I got a factory Turbo 2 UK Vert,
Jesus.
non-import with a BN kit on it.
Holy
and
shit!
some-
What are you doing out of a
Send
random
pics right this instant.
This is why I
oh my
love the
word.
internet. This is why I love the internet. I'm watching you, who I'm talking to you right now, do like however long ago on YouTube right now. What the fuck? This is
Yeah.
amazing.
Shit, that's fucking sick.
How
I
much
didn't
did
know
it
you
cost
had
though?
that.
It's not many people did. I only owned it for like a month and a half. But
Just
I'm
do
not-
it
Fair
every-
enough. Rotary life isn't for everyone.
well, it's,
I'm
no,
chucking
Or
I
anyone.
loved
links
it.
there with the timestamp. If you want to click on the link with the timestamp, you'll see him doing a burnout.
There you go. That's my Vert.
Tom, what did you pay?
Sorry,
How much did you pay?
I paid $2.5 grand
What?
Oh my god.
for a running, driving, MOT'd Turbo 2.
How? Did they want to buy you?
Dude moved to Australia.
Oh my
Uh,
god. Why don't you take it with him?
Cool. Yeah, it was a cool car. The bumpers fell off it all the time. Like it was so rough. I actually, because I paid so little for it, I swapped it for a Turbo MX-5 when I got rid of it.
Damn.
But-
That is unfortunate.
Well, no, it wasn't though. Like the MX-5 was quicker,
Oh, okay.
like a lot quick. Like so that was fast.
Was
that
it-
made about
What
280.
model
What?
was that?
My MX-5.
Yeah.
It was an NA with a TD04 hybrid turbo on it, and it made 232 wheel horsepower, which
Ooh.
is like, a lot for an MX-5 on stock internals. It's not a lot in the grand scheme of things. There are other people. The issue with the MX-5 turbo world as well, I've noticed, is nobody seems to know whether they're getting quoted wheel numbers or crank numbers. And everyone's all like, oh, you're only making 230 horsepower. I'm making 260. And you're all like, yeah, but that's at the flywheel. And that's not a real number because you can't calculate that easily. And if you're making, basically, it's about 23% drivetrain loss in an MX-5. So if you're making 260 flywheel horsepower, you're making like 205 wheel. So if you add another 30 wheel to that, that's what mine made. And mine was like hideous. It was so fast. Like I've been in quicker ones. I actually worked for a company in the UK that makes turbo MX-5 stuff. No comment. I spent a lot of time there, and I went out in a couple of like silly ones. Like there's a guy who's got a 400 horsepower one, and I went out in that. And
Was that the red one?
the red one was my turbo car that was 234 wheel. The 400 horsepower one was a black NB or something, forged, and I went out in it, and I don't know if it was like, but because it's got such a big turbo, you've got to make up for the lag. It's a numbers car. Like you're just waiting and waiting and waiting because it's laggy. It doesn't feel fast. They don't just suddenly like snap on to boost. Whereas my car with 234 wheel was on boost from like 2.2 grand all the way to redline because it had a hybrid turbo in it. It was just stupid. So I raced one of those Alfa Romeo Quadrifoglio Giulias or whatever they are, the cool looking saloon one. he'd come up next to me in traffic, and I had my pink sunglasses on, my roof down. I'm in my gay MX-5 with a fart can hanging out the back, and he's kind of pulled up next to me, and he's making all this noise with his like dolled up girlfriend in the passenger seat.
About 507 horsepower, aren't they? Them Alphas.
Yeah, they're like 450 somewhere in that region, and
No, the 507, the new ones.
I don't know what year it
Yeah,
was.
V6 turbo, good cars.
But anyway, yeah, I've dropped like 2 gears, and he's heard me because I had a 6-speed in mine as well because mine had all the kit.
Oh my god!
So I've dropped to like 3rd or 2nd, and we're both doing 50 mile an hour, or like what is that, 75, 80 k's. Yeah, I've dropped, and I've heard him like paddle down 2 gears, and as we've both planted it, he's sort of pulled the MX-5 spooled, and it's just gone up the road, like lighting up the rear tyres, just sodding off. And like he pulled up next to me in the traffic lights, and his girlfriend was giggling off her face because he's got like this 80 grand, 100 grand Alpha, and I'm there in like a 4 grand MX-5 that's just dicked it up a dual carriageway. It was great.
I just think of Sean from Tokyo Drift smiling with like 3 bloody teeth at the fucking chip.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh man.
Like,
This
yeah.
really wants me to segue onto how hard it is to come by great, like cool yet inexpensive cars like that in this country. But
It's impossible.
are we out of time for this one? Or
I
do
mean,
we still have a little bit left?
we can go, like, we're over an hour now, but the last 2 have been an hour and 20, so if we want to drag it out a little bit more, we can.
Yeah, I was going to say that might be something good to do for a whole nother episode.
Probably a good idea.
but-
We'll save that for next week, and we'll just keep it like as a thing that we'll do then.
All right.
Sounds
Well,
good.
I think we're closing off there then, boys. Fantastic. Well, thank you to everyone who stayed so far, all 3 of you. Be sure to like,
Follow
comment,
at SR20
subscribe.
Debt.
Yeah, follow at SR20
Like
Debt,
Toge
follow the
Toge.
little SR that could, follow Toge, follow GTE posting. Don't follow Chase
day
posting because he
you'll
betrayed
find
us
out
and didn't
who I
turn
am.
up. Oh no, Trav turned up. One day you will find out who SR20 Debt Max is, other than Alex from Car Throttle's cousin.
Long lost brother.
Thank you.
But yeah, I think we're gonna make that the end. Thank you for listening, and yeah, peace out.
Catch you,
Bye.
cunts.
Yeah.